All right, young scholars, this week for 415, our focus is going to be primarily on setting up your plan of attack for your website that you can start putting into place between now and by the end of class on 422 when we begin to finish it. So this week solely focuses on ideas for what you want to put on your web pages. So inside this folder here will be the class lecture recording, as always, associated with this week's PowerPoint below. Additionally, make sure to complete the website final plan draft. I'll mention this at the end of the video as well. But for this week's participation points, you're just going to email me a question on how to improve a page you intend to have on your website. So we're deciding on and creating our content for the website. So throughout these slides, I simply give you examples on what you might want to have on these certain pages. And in some cases, I give you examples of different websites which may have examples of what I'm suggesting. So your homepage is going to be that first page that everybody goes to when they visit your URL, your domain name you purchased. It should be as clean as possible with some information, but not an overload. Since most of you are going to do some kind of personal or professional website that you want to either sell yourself or a product that you have interest in selling, the idea is that I'm going to let you be fairly open-ended in this. So more likely than not, you're going to do a WordPress website, which does most of the work for you, or you're going to design it on your own using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. So an example of a good web page, homepage, is listed here. It has some information provided, but not too much. So again, these are just examples of pages you might have on your web page. On your website, you may have them, you may not have them. That's up to you. But the homepage is a common and pretty much necessity for all websites. More often than not, you're going to have an about or an about us page on your website. So here's some examples of what you might want to put on an about us or about page. It should ideally be a summary of who you are or the kind of business you're offering, maybe a paragraph or two on that. If it's about you personally, you may want to have a couple pictures. If it's about your company, whatever you're selling, you may want to have a couple pictures about that. If it's a personal website, you may want to have something like a LinkedIn kind of summary to describe yourself with a professional picture. And here's another example of a decent looking about page if you wanted to go that route. So again, if you're doing a personal website, you might want to have a page that includes work experience. So it could be open-ended and doesn't even necessarily have to be called work experience. You may want to just list all your skills and experience like you would on a LinkedIn page. So another example of another page, if you're selling something like an e-commerce site, you might want to replace this work experience page instead with a page that lists the categories of the different items you're selling. Another example I provide here is course artifacts. So you may be able to prove that you have the skills that you claim on the previous slide within your work experience and skills. Hey, I know JavaScript, and here's what I did in this class to prove it. If you're doing the e-commerce route, you may want to replace course artifacts with specific pages. Okay, I'm going to sell sundresses. Here are the 8 sundresses that my website is going to sell. Then you're going to include other content as necessary. In essence, the plan you're going to put together is going to determine what kind of pages you're going to have. So you may have 4 pages, you may have 8 pages. It's entirely up to you. If you're going to do a personal website, you might want to have a page that lists all your contact information, your email address, how they could follow you on social media, etc. You might want to list a executive summary of some kind if you're going to do that personal resume style website, explaining, hey, this is the kind of job I'm looking for. I want to get hired as an entry level individual at a cybersecurity firm. Again, these are simple examples. Your web page does not have to reflect these examples in any way, shape, or form. These are just examples to give you an idea of what you might want to have on those specific pages. So as always, you're free to email me any questions you have. The whole 415 week is devoted towards finishing your plan and starting to set up your website that will finish in class on the 22nd. And again, the participation points for this week are for you to simply email me a question on how to improve a certain page that you intend to have. I'll respond, I'll provide you feedback, just like I will with the website plan rough draft. It's entirely up to you. You could take one of the suggestions, all of the suggestions, none of the suggestions, perfectly up to you. It's your website. And then last but not least, you're going to take the website plan rough draft that you submit, look at my feedback, fix it up, and submit it again by the end of the week here on Blackboard. And that's all for the 415 lesson.